That's a good counterpuncher, technically sound, that is courageous, and that's going to show up to and be in fight of the year. And not just being fight of the year, I believe he's going to be victorious.
Loopholes. Usually Benavidez is too busy punching holes in guys. Cop, even though you're picking Benavidez, if the headlines Sunday morning are that Zurdo won, how did he do it, Cop?
Probably in a dream or something, Max. I think I would start pinching myself and wake up.
I have a great, game plan for this fight. I know I'm going to be faster than Zurdo Ramirez. So my game plan is, put them punches and bunches, put them combinations together and attack the body all night. So that being said, I'm making sure my defense is on point. I'm making sure my footwork is on point. I'm making sure my counter shots are on point. So for every reaction or for every action he has to do, there has to be a reaction for myself. You know what I mean? So I've been working this consistently in the gym. If he throws something, I got to come back with a counter shot. I got to do a defensive shot. So I'm making sure all my P's and Q's are what they're supposed to be. And we got a great game plan. You know what I mean? I got to be prepared for the worst. You know what I mean? I'm getting ready for the best and I got to be prepared for the worst. That being said is, if there's anything that happens in there, I got to be ready to adapt to whatever comes my way.
Since he was a little boy, he understands how to make certain positions work for him. It's just like Tyson when he come in and weave under and he squared up, and he's leaping in with left hooks and right hands. Well, Benavidez is similar in that aspect. So I'm letting y'all know, give y'all my prediction. I'm picking Benavidez. Zurdo is tough as hell. He gonna fight his behind off. Oh, for sure, he gonna fight hard.
Boxing experts are warning Zurdo Ramirez that he could be in serious danger of defeat against the relentless David Benavidez. But Oscar De La Hoya has bluntly stated that Benavidez does not have a strong chin and claims his punches lack the power that Zurdo carries.
Mention why you see why David is favored in this fight, but obviously you're going with your man. Just explain it to us again why you see David is probably the favorite, but why your guys still take this against him.
Yeah, no, look, it's styles make fights, obviously, and I've watched many Benavidez fights. I've watched many Zurdo fights. Obviously, I promote him, but Benavidez throws a lot of punches. Doesn't throw everything with power, and he doesn't really have a good chin. Okay, I mean, Zurdo, on the other hand, takes his time. He's very calculated, but every punch he throws, it's hard. It's got bad intention.
Benavidez is aiming to prove Oscar wrong by breaking through Zurdo's defense and targeting both his chin and body with heavy shots.
David, Zurdo's got a great chin. He's never been down. Your dad thinks you could stop him in 10 rounds. How do you do that to a guy who's so durable, so big, never been down before?
Well, it doesn't matter when you do that, how you hurt somebody's with accuracy. Accuracy and volume punches. I'm very accurate. I throw a lot, and I mix it up very well. This is against a fighter I've hurt before in sparring, and that's in sparring. This is 10-ounce gloves. This is different. And, I know he's going to come ready. He's going to have, he has a pretty durable chin. But I'm not just aiming for the chin. I'm aiming for the chin, the body, everything.
Raising the stakes, Mike Scott from Zurdo's training team claims Zurdo knows Benavidez's weak spots, a view Mike Coppinger disagrees with, pointing out the traits that make Benavidez stand out over Zurdo.
That's a good counterpuncher, technically sound, that is courageous, and that's going to show up to and be in fight of the year. And not just being fight of the year, I believe he's going to be victorious.
Loopholes. Usually Benavidez is too busy punching holes in guys. Cop, even though you're picking Benavidez, if the headlines Sunday morning are that Zurdo won, how did he do it, Cop?
Probably in a dream or something, Max. I think I would start pinching myself and wake up. But no, jokes aside, I think if Zurdo's going to pull off this upset, which I think will be the upset of the year, I think he's going to have to apply the nonstop pressure, really lean on Benavidez, use his superior strength, his superior size, and make it an ugly, rough and tumble fight. He's certainly not going to outbox Benavidez. He's a lot slower than Benavidez. I think that's the only path to victory that I can see.
On the other hand, Max Kellerman points to classic era examples, suggesting Zurdo looks more well-rounded, while Benavidez may struggle with punch volume and resistance in this matchup.
Moved up to middleweight to compete in a tournament where he eventually met Bernard Hopkins in the finals. Trinidad, 2-1 favorite, as I mentioned, was comprehensively outboxed and finally stopped in the 12th and final round. Now, by the way, same thing, I could give you other examples. Donald Curry against Mike McCallum, 2-1 underdog. The bigger guy was a 2-1 underdog, scored a knockout. In each of these fights, the smaller favored fighter was upset, partly because the bigger guy was a more well-rounded fighter, and partly because the smaller guy was more affected by the shots of the bigger fighter than he'd been by the shots of fighters in his natural weight class, especially because the bigger guy was also a special fighter. So if there's a pattern here, it seems to me you have to hope that your guy, that Zurdo, is not only more well-rounded than Benavidez, but that Benavidez's punch resistance won't be the same at cruiserweight. I yield the floor to Malik.
Malik is firm that Ramirez can exploit Benavidez's mistakes, saying that while Benavidez thrives on speed, Zurdo's timing and size advantage at a higher weight class could cause real problems.
Because the only thing that beats speed is timing. And I truly believe timing is one of Zurdo Ramirez's biggest assets. He's fought guys that's been fast. He's fought guys that have hit harder than him. He's fought guys that have put pressure on him. He finds a way because of his extreme timing. And I believe timing, punching in the middle of those shots, especially him being a bigger man. We're going to see Benavidez, how he's going to deal with a real cruiserweight. And we're going to see how he deal with getting punched when he make the mistakes that he makes sometimes. You know, he have, like I said, Max, you know, he do punch a lot of holes in people, but he has a lot of loopholes in his game. And I think timing, and I think not mentioning that Zurdo is an incredible southpaw that don't just move back from punches, but he get under punches. He make good angles. And Julian Chua has just been doing an incredible job.
Max Kellerman suggests that in a choice between specialists and well-rounded skills, Benavidez might have the edge, noting both fighters are elite, and this matchup is one of the best in recent times.
Yeah, Benavidez and Bivol have different styles, and I think what this really comes down to more than anything, we acknowledge Benavidez is the guy moving up, right? And that Zurdo's not a bad fighter. So the real question is, as I mentioned, in all of the upsets where the bigger guy was the underdog, he was a special fighter. And Mike does not believe Zurdo's special. I think you think he's good but not special. And Malik is here to tell you he is special. He's better than he looked against Bivol, who has a bad style for everyone. Bivol's really good. And time will tell. It always does. We don't have to wait long, guys. This is not only the biggest fight between two fighters of Mexican heritage at this heavy a weight ever, but it's also in the great tradition, in the great boxing tradition of Mexican-American versus Mexican fighter. Oscar De La Hoya, American Olympic gold medalist, was by the middle of the 90s in the process of becoming the face of boxing.
Adding his prediction, Tim Broadley highlights Benavidez as a strong fighter with clear advantages, pointing to his credentials and skill set over Ramirez, and backing him to win. He also points out flaws in Zurdo's stance, saying his wide base could become a problem if his movement is disrupted. In contrast, Benavidez is seen as someone who regains momentum quickly even after getting hit, keeping constant pressure throughout the fight.
You know, his base is always wide, right? So you can push him back or push him to the side. His balance is terrible on the inside. You know, the same can somewhat be said about Benavidez. However, Benavidez, he knows how to warp into something different, right? It's like if he squares his feet up, it's not like he's in a bad position. Oh, he can get caught with shots, but he knows how to make it work because he's been doing that since he was a little boy. He understands how to make certain positions work for him. It's just like Tyson when he come in and weave under and he squared up, you know, and he's leaping in with left hooks and right hands. Well, Benavidez is similar in that aspect. So I'm letting y'all know, give y'all my prediction. I'm picking Benavidez.
At the same time, Tim Broadley insists there are still concerns to consider, especially Benavidez's stamina. Moving up in weight could have an impact on his cardio, and that is something worth watching closely. He wonders how Benavidez will cope with Zurdo at a time when he's adjusting to a higher division. Unlike some of his past opponents, he now faces someone closer to his own size, which could test his endurance over the full fight.
Zurdo is tough as hell. He gonna fight his behind off. Oh, for sure, he gonna fight hard. But I'm picking Benavidez to clearly beat him. Unanimous decision. You know, things that we may need to worry about, stamina. We may need to worry about that. Because when you're gaining weight, oh, you don't have to run as much anymore, champ. You good. You got to hold on to some of that weight. And you know, Benavidez is he already loose at the bottom, loose as a goose. So it's like, hey, I don't have to run as much. I don't have to do as much cardio. So what happens then? He like to squeeze down to 168 or 175. Now he ain't got to do that. So now his cardio might be affected. When he was at 175, we finally saw, you know, some of his power translate at that weight. But it took a minute from 168 when he was knocking out everybody that was little. And now 75, he in there with guys that's his damn same size as he is. It was harder to knock out.
Making his stance clear, Tim Broadley gives his prediction in favor of Benavidez, leaning toward a decision victory. According to him, a knockout is not easy in this matchup, though it still remains a possible outcome if openings appear. However, the more likely scenario in his eyes is Benavidez controlling the pace and doing enough work over the rounds to secure a clear win on points by the end of the fight.
But accumulation, people, accumulation can work also, and we could maybe possibly see accumulation stop, but I'm gonna go decision. I'm gonna go Benavidez, unanimous decision against Ramirez.
As the discussion continues, Joel Diaz steps in with his own breakdown. He sees Zurdo as a physically tough fighter, but believes Benavidez's high punch volume, fast hand speed, and movement are the key traits that make him dangerous. Diaz feels these strengths could prove decisive. He also suggests this is the right kind of challenge to test Benavidez at cruiserweight and judge his level properly, with future fights likely becoming much easier if he performs here.
Realistically, well, Zurdo Ramirez is a tough fighter. He's strong. He's physically strong, big fighter. But Benavidez has speed on his hands, more movement. I mean, I see a fight going the distance by decision. Benavidez winning by decision due to volume and speed.
Joel, I know you helped Dimitri beat Canelo Alvarez. How do you think? First of all, do you think David, who says he can get back to light heavyweight at 100%, he could do that after going up to 200 pounds? And how do you see a fight with him and Bivol going if he does?
I just think we gotta see how he performs on this one. This is his first fight in cruiserweight, so. It's determined based on the outcome, how he feels, how he looks, and I think he can go from there, but if he looks good.
According to Diaz, this fight is a true test of Benavidez's skills, especially to see if future fights with Dimitri Bivol become realistic. He adds that if Benavidez manages a stoppage here, his chances for that dream fight rise even higher. However, Diaz also insists this will not be an easy task, as Zurdo has his legacy on the line. He believes Ramirez will be highly motivated and much tougher to handle than many expect.
If he ends up, stopping or knocking out Zurdo Ramirez, and then of course he'll fit in a category. But we'll see. It's just a matter of time. Let's see what happens after the fight.
The version that fought at light heavyweight against Yard, against Morrell, how would you see that version faring against Dimitri Bivol?
Well, it will be a good fight. And I mean, right now we want to see the best fights, and I see a great fight in the future between Benavidez and Bivol. That'll be a great fight, a fan-friendly fight, something that the fans want to see. But other than that, I'm looking forward to this one coming up. This main event is gonna be good because Zurdo Ramirez, obviously, he got a title and he don't want to let it go.
As for the weight step-up concern, Diaz believes it will play a part, but not in the first 5 rounds. He explains early on Zurdo may struggle due to Benavidez's speed, but if Ramirez survives until the 5th, momentum could shift his way. According to Joel, Zurdo often grows stronger in the later rounds, while Benavidez can slow down. The key factor is stamina versus pressure. Still, he clearly leans toward Benavidez winning by outboxing Zurdo with volume and pace.
The way I see the fight is going to be hard for Bivol. I mean, for Zurdo Ramirez in the first 5 rounds because of the speed. And from there on, after the 6th, if Zurdo is still in the fight, he gets stronger because Zurdo gets stronger in the later rounds. And I noticed that Benavidez gets a little tired, and now the factor is weight now. Let's see what it does because Zurdo Ramirez comes into the fight heavy, and hopefully it's not a big factor in the later rounds for Benavidez. But other than that, I see Benavidez, outboxing Zurdo and beating him due to his speed and volume.
While the boxing world debates Benavidez's edge over Zurdo, Benavidez himself is promising a stoppage. He says he's been breaking down opponents lately and believes greatness is not given, it's taken. He's coming in to take away Ramirez's belt and make a real statement. Benavidez also makes it clear that his game plan is to break him down round by round and make him feel the pressure and punishment. Unless he's stopped, he intends to dominate the fight and leave no doubt about who is the stronger man in the ring.
Do you see the fight ending in a decision, or do you think somebody gonna take somebody out?
No, I want to take him out, bro. Like I said, greatness is not given, it's taken.
I love it.
You guys know how I fight. I've come too far to try to change up my style, and I am who I am. You know what I mean? This is the way I love to fight. I'm gonna go in there, and I see a lot of opportunities me hurting Zurdo. So now and I've heard him a lot before in sparring sessions. So I know for a fact I can hurt him, but it's just now that when I hurt him, I open him up. I got to make sure I stay on him to get the stoppage. But I definitely feel like I can get a stoppage. I just got to work behind the jab, use my movement, use some counter shots, and I see a lot of opportunities for me hurting Zurdo and then ultimately taking him out.
Similarly, Roy Jones Jr. is backing Benavidez to come out on top against Ramirez. He points to their past sparring sessions, suggesting they exposed certain weaknesses that could be key in the actual fight. According to him, those moments showed how Benavidez can apply pressure and take control when openings appear. In his view, if those patterns repeat, Benavidez has a strong path to secure a clear victory.
Benavidez versus Zurdo Ramirez.
That's a good fight. I can't wait to see that. I think Benavidez definitely beats Zurdo, but it's a great fight.
He's spar with him, so you know it. I never spar with Ruiz. I know Ruiz. He's spar, so you know what he's dealing with. So, I mean, I think he's dealing with him anyway, but he know what he's dealing with. You understand? So if you know what he's dealing with, of course I won't blame him. I go get it too. If I know him, I know what he is, I know what it takes to beat him. I sparred him before I know what it takes to beat him. Ain't doing the right thing. So easy picking for him, go get there.
Furthermore, Andre Ward and Roy Jones Jr. have both shared their views on the matchup, breaking down how Benavidez could gradually wear down Zurdo Ramirez as the fight progresses. Ward raises questions about the step up to cruiserweight and whether the extra weight could impact his sharpness and output. In contrast, Roy Jones Jr. strongly disagrees, arguing that Benavidez is physically equipped for the move and will not lose his edge. He believes the transition could actually bring out his best form under pressure.
How's he gonna carry that weight? Is the volume gonna be the way that it was previously at super middleweight, light heavyweight? And is the conditioning gonna be there? If it is, he's 20. Go ahead, talk to me.
Most of his training is at that weight.
Yeah, over 200, really. Over 200,
exactly.
Really. Yeah.
Most of his training is at that weight. How could he possibly not carry it? How could he do all of his training pretty much at that weight? So how could he, exactly, so how could he not be the same guy?
But it's weird sometimes, man. That's like that with everybody.
Not for him.
Everybody cutting
Not
up.
for him. Yeah, but not for him. He's cutting differently.
Well, we're gonna see
the whole time.
We're gonna see.
Okay.
Right?
If you ever see him outside of a fight, you understand that this dude, this is nothing for him.
At the same time, Andre Ward cautions not to overlook Zurdo Ramirez, pointing to his experience as a 3-time world champion. Even so, he still believes Benavidez has the upper hand in this matchup because of his unbeaten run and proven toughness, especially his ability to stay composed and remain on his feet under heavy pressure without being dropped.
So
I'm guessing, but he might get 210,
215
215 or something like that, maybe more. He just got a big frame.
I think he gets bigger.
Yeah, he got a big frame. So this may be the sweet spot for him. This may be just where he needs to be. But he's got the age advantage. He's younger. He's 29 years old. He's got less miles.
That's the big thing.
Right?
Yep.
He has never been beaten. So anytime you've been knocked down or beat, that you wear that. That's a scar you gotta wear. He don't have that scar going into this fight.
None.
Andre Ward highlights that Zurdo Ramirez's steady pressure style could help him stay competitive in difficult exchanges, even under heavy fire. At the same time, he raises questions about how Benavidez will handle the jump in weight against a proven 3-time world champion. While acknowledging Benavidez's speed, power, and aggression, Ward suggests the move could challenge his timing, stamina, and overall control as the fight progresses.
Zurdo Ramirez can weather those storms without taking too much punishment and getting hit too much and keep that thing tight into the back half of the stretch. He's got a shot to try to implement his style, which is pressure and just that grinding presence. But he also can box when he wants to as well. And I want to see how much he boxes and how much he fights, because in our interview with him, it sounded like he want to do both all at the same time. And you can't do both all at the same time. You got to choose when to box and when to slug. And for David Benavidez, man, can he conquer another weight class? Can he go out there and become a 2-time cruiserweight champion and then a 5-time world champion on a Cinco de Mayo weekend just for one fight and one fight alone? That's the questions we have. So,
giving his prediction, Andre Ward slightly leans toward Benavidez, viewing it as roughly a 60-40 edge. Still, he warns that Zurdo Ramirez is not someone to underestimate. Ward notes Benavidez carries a style many fighters have struggled to solve, with non-stop pressure and sharp aggression causing constant trouble. He adds that there's no proven blueprint for beating him yet, which is why this matchup stands out as one of the most compelling fights in recent memory.
I don't have a prediction, but I think it's going to be a great fight that I give David Benavidez a slight edge to, right? This is a 60-40 situation for me, maybe a little bit more in his favor, maybe 65-35, but that's just because he hasn't lost. We haven't seen that blueprint. And even if guys have good rounds, they don't have good fights against him. Ultimately, they wear down mentally, physically, emotionally, and David Benavidez takes over, and he ultimately stops guys or beats them up and gets his hand raised. Will that happen again against two-time cruiserweight champion Zurdo Ramirez on Cinco de Mayo?
All these breakdowns point to one clear question, and that is why Ramirez could end up coming up short against Benavidez. From relentless pressure to non-stop volume and elite conditioning, Benavidez seems built to break down every round and force mistakes when it matters most. Now it's your turn. Do you agree that Ramirez is walking into a tough night, or can he prove everyone wrong? Drop your thoughts in the comments and make sure to like and subscribe for more fight analysis like this.